When God is getting ready to bless you with something major, something that's going to shift the whole course of your life, don't expect it to come with sunshine and rainbows right away. That's not how it works. In fact, the first sign that something big is coming is that things will start falling apart. Yeah, I said it. Things will fall apart. And I know that don't sound like a blessing, but stay with me because it's all part of the process. You'll be sitting there thinking, wait a minute, I've been praying, fasting, trusting, doing the right thing. So why is everything suddenly going left? That's because God is clearing space. He's moving the old out so the new has room to step in. And see, a lot of us don't realize just how much clutter we've been carrying. Emotional clutter, toxic relationships, dead-end jobs, small thinking, fear, self-doubt. God can't pour big blessings into a full, messy space. So what does he do? He starts subtracting before he multiplies. That job you love might turn on you. That friend who always had your back might ghost you. That opportunity you were banking on might just disappear overnight. And in that moment, it'll feel like your life is unraveling. But the truth is, it's just reorganizing. God is setting you up for something greater, but he's got to tear down the shaky foundation first. Now, let me keep it real with you. This part hurts. You're going to cry. You're going to question things. You're going to look up at the ceiling some nights and say, Lord, what are you doing? Why me? Why now? But that's when you've got to dig into your faith the most. That's when you need to remember that disruption is often a signal of divine construction. God's not punishing you. He's positioning you. Let me give you an example. Think about remodeling a house. When a construction crew comes in to build something beautiful, what do first? They demo the place. They knock down walls. They rip up floors. They gut the whole thing. And if you walked in mid-process, you'd swear the house was worse off than when they started. But come back later and you see a masterpiece. That's what God is doing in your life. Don't judge the blessing by what it looks like in the middle. You're under construction. And here's something else. Not everyone can go with you to where God is taking you. Some of the people you love, you've outgrown spiritually. Some of the places you've been hanging out in, they don't fit your purpose anymore. You've been trying to drag old friends into a future they ain't built for. And when they start acting distant, shady, or even hateful, it's not always the devil. Sometimes it's God letting you see who's really aligned with your destiny. Some exits are answers to prayers you didn't even know you prayed. You've got to trust that every subtraction has a reason. Don't beg people to stay who are only meant for a season. Don't cling to a job that's draining your soul just because it feels safe. That safe space may be the exact thing standing in the way of your miracle. See, comfort zones don't produce greatness, they produce stagnation. And when God sees you've been stuck too long, he'll shake the ground under your feet to get you moving. But listen, when things fall apart, that's not your cue to panic. That's your cue to prepare. Start praising while it's falling. Start trusting while it's shifting. Start thanking God in advance for what's coming after the storm. Because if it's falling apart, that means God is up to something. And the bigger the breakdown, the bigger the breakthrough on the other side. You may not understand it right now. You may not even like it. But one day you'll look back and say, if that hadn't fallen apart, I wouldn't be where I am now. You'll realize that what looked like the end was actually the beginning. You just had to go through the breaking before you stepped into the blessing. So if life's been crumbling lately, don't worry. You're not cursed. You're not forgotten. You're being prepared. Something big is on the way. You just got to survive the shakeup to see the setup. You ever been somewhere that used to feel like home and now all of a sudden it just don't sit right with your spirit anymore? That's not by accident. That's not mood swings. That's not you being off. That's God talking. That's how he lets you know you don't belong here anymore. When God is about to elevate you, the places you used to feel comfortable in will start making you restless. You'll be sitting at the same job, in the same cubicle, with the same people doing the same thing you've been doing for years, and out of nowhere, it just won't feel right. You'll be thinking, why does this feel so empty now? I used to enjoy this. It's because your spirit has outgrown your purpose is too big for the box you're in, and God's letting you feel that tension so you don't. You see, we're creatures of habit. We love routine. We cling to what's familiar, even when it's limiting us. But growth don't happen in comfort. And God loves you too much to let you stay stuck. So he starts making the old places feel uncomfortable, because he knows if you keep feeling cozy, you'll never move. It might be your job. Maybe it used to fulfill you, but now it feels like it's draining you. You used to walk in excited, now you're counting down the hours before you even clock in. That's not burnout. That's a holy discontent. That's the Lord whispering, you're meant for more than this. I didn't design you just to survive Mondays and wait for Fridays. It might be your relationships. You've been friends with some people for years. Y'all go way back. But now the conversation don't flow the same. The energy feels off. You feel judged for dreaming big. You feel unsupported when you talk about growth. That's not pettiness. That's a sign. Sometimes God allows the energy to shift so you stop pouring into people who can't carry the next version of you. And don't feel guilty for that. You're not being disloyal. You're being obedient. You're not walking away from people. You're walking toward purpose. And there's a difference. Everybody can't come with you. Some people are only assigned to the chapter you're leaving behind, not the one God is about to write next. So when the vibe changes, when the connection fades, when the room don't feel right anymore, pay attention. That's a spiritual nudge. That's heaven telling you it's time to move. Even your own thoughts start changing. You'll notice you can't ignore your dreams like you used to. Your gifts are getting louder. Your vision is keeping you up at night. That business idea won't leave you alone. That calling you've been avoiding is showing up in everything you hear, everything you watch, everything you read. God is trying to provoke movement. He's making you uncomfortable on purpose. And I get it, that discomfort, it's not easy. It feels like you're caught in between. You're no longer happy where you are, but you're not sure how to get to where you're supposed to be. That's called transition. That's what the middle looks like. It's messy, it's awkward, but it's necessary. You can't keep asking God to take you higher while clinging to what feels safe. You got to make a choice, comfort or calling. You can't have both. Sometimes you've got to leave the shore if you ever want to walk on water. But here's the good news. Discomfort is a sign that your life is stretching. And stretching always comes before strength. You'll know you're close to something divine when the things you used to tolerate become unbearable, when small talk drains you, when mediocrity annoys you, when the normal starts to feel like a cage. That's not negativity, that's preparation. That's your inner man waking up and saying, there's more in me than this. So don't ignore the discomfort. Don't numb it. Don't talk yourself out of it. Lean into it. Ask God what he's trying to show you. Sometimes he makes things uncomfortable, not to punish you, but to push you into the next dimension of your life. He's got blessings stored up that require a different version of you. And that version can't be born in a place where you're cozy, passive, and half awake. You were never meant to stay where you started. Growth is part of your design. So if everything familiar suddenly starts to feel foreign, don't panic. Just know something's shifting, something's coming, and God is getting ready to move you. When you're on the edge of a breakthrough, don't expect the road to get easier. It's going to get harder. The attacks will get heavier. The pressure will feel unbearable at times. And you'll be wondering, God, why is everything coming at me like this all of a sudden? That's not a coincidence. That's not bad luck. That's spiritual warfare. The closer you get to the blessing, the harder the enemy fights to stop you. You've got to understand something. The enemy doesn't bother people who aren't a threat. If everything in your life has started to shake, if you're getting hit from all sides, if you feel like you're in the middle of a storm, you must be close to something important. The devil don't waste time on people going nowhere. He comes after those who are carrying purpose. He comes after the ones who are about to shift generational curses, change lives, build legacies. So when the fight gets fierce, take that as confirmation you're on the right path. Think about it. When you're just coasting through life, not making waves, not stepping into purpose, not growing, that's when the enemy leaves you alone. Why would he need to attack someone who's already stuck? But the moment you start dreaming bigger, moving differently, praying harder, loving deeper, that's when the resistance shows up, and not just from outside either. Sometimes the biggest battle will be the one happening inside your own mind. The enemy knows he can't take your purpose, so he tries to take your peace. He wants to make you question yourself. He wants to make you second guess what God already confirmed. You'll wake up feeling discouraged for no reason. You'll feel anxious even when things are going right. You'll start doubting if you're even worthy of the thing you've been praying for. That's not you losing faith. That's the enemy trying to wear you out before the blessing hits. And let me tell you something else. It often comes right after you've made progress. You finally break free from something toxic, and then boom, here comes temptation knocking again. You finally start believing in yourself, and then wham, here comes a wave of fear and self-doubt. It's not random. It's a strategy. Because if the enemy can't stop you, he'll settle for slowing you down. And if he can't slow you down, he'll try to distract you, discourage you, make you too tired to keep going. But here's what you've got to remember. You're stronger than the storm. And not because of who you are, but because of who's with you. God doesn't bring you this far just to leave you in the middle of the mess. He allows the battle to show you what you're made of. He allows the heat to prove your fire. See, you don't even know how strong you are until you're tested. You don't know the depth of your faith until it's challenged. And you don't know how powerful your prayer life is until the pressure makes you drop to your knees. Sometimes the battle is the blessing because it's in the battle that you learn how to stand. It's in the battle that you develop the discipline, the patience, the resilience to carry what's coming. Everyone wants the platform, but not everyone wants the preparation. Everyone wants the crown, but nobody wants to cross. But here's the truth. Elevation comes with opposition, and every level comes with a new devil. That's why when the attacks come, you've got to recognize them for what they are. They're not signs that you're failing. They're signs that you're about to rise. God will allow the storm to rage, not to break you, but to build you. He wants to know, can you still praise me when it doesn't make sense? Can you still trust me when you can't trace me? Can you still move forward when the road ahead looks dark and uncertain? Because that's what real faith looks like. Faith is not proven in the good times. It's proven in the struggle. It's easy to believe when everything's falling into place. But when everything's falling apart and you still choose to believe, that's when heaven takes note. So yeah, the battle's going to get big, but so is the blessing. Don't run from it. Don't fold. Don't give up 5 minutes before your miracle. You didn't come this far to quit. You didn't survive what you survived to throw in the towel now. If life has been coming at you hard, it means something powerful is coming your way. You just have to keep standing long enough to receive it. When God is preparing to do something big in your life, He doesn't always show you the whole picture right away. Most of the time, He gives you little glimpses, small moments, hints, just enough to stir something inside you, just enough to keep your hope alive. He knows you might not be ready to handle the full blessing all at once, but He'll start dropping signs just a little here, a little there, like pieces of a puzzle coming together over time, like pieces of a puzzle coming together over time. And those glimpses, they don't come loud. They're not fireworks. They're subtle, quiet, easy to miss if you're not paying attention. That's why you have to stay spiritually alert. You've got to be tuned in to the whispers of God, not just the shouts. He'll show you through a conversation, a random encounter, a dream that keeps repeating, a stranger saying something that hits you so deep you know it wasn't just coincidence. You got to understand, when heaven is about to move in your life, signs will show up in the natural, but they come with spiritual meaning. You ever had a moment where something just clicks out of nowhere? You're driving, listening to music, and a lyric grabs your heart like a prophecy. You're reading a book or watching a movie, and suddenly a line hits you so hard you have to pause and say, hold up, that was for me. That's a glimpse. That's God letting you know, I'm talking to you, I'm confirming what you've been praying about. Sometimes it's not even about what you see with your eyes, it's about what you feel in your spirit. You start to sense that something is shifting. You can't explain it, you just know something is coming. You can't shake the feeling. You feel it when you wake up, you feel it when you're quiet. It's like your soul is being stretched, and your heart is preparing for something greater. That's how God works. He gives you spiritual evidence before the physical manifestation. That's why you have to walk by faith, not by sight. You'll also start noticing doors opening that you didn't knock on. People will show up offering help you didn't ask for. Opportunities will come that seem too aligned to be random. That's God showing you a preview of what's ahead. He's saying, keep going, you're getting warmer. You're on the right track. But don't get it twisted. These glimpses aren't the full blessing. They're just a trailer before the movie. They're just appetizers before the main course. And if you get too comfortable with the glimpse, you'll miss the bigger thing He's trying to bring. So treat every glimpse as confirmation, not completion. Don't settle for the hint. Keep walking until you get the harvest. God is not a tease. He's a planner. If He showed it to you, it means it exists. If He revealed it in part, it means the rest is on the way. But you've got to keep trusting through the wait. That's where most people mess up. They see a glimpse, but when it doesn't turn into the full picture overnight, they get discouraged and quit. Don't do that. That's like getting a map and then giving up halfway to the destination because the road got bumpy. Sometimes the glimpse comes in the form of other people's success. You'll see someone else living the very thing you've been praying for. Don't get jealous. Don't get bitter. That's another glimpse. God is saying, if I did it for them, I can do it for you too. He'll put you in proximity to what's possible so you know it's real. That's not competition. That's inspiration. Let their blessing build your faith, not your frustration. You've got to learn how to praise God for the preview, even if it's just a taste, even if it's just a conversation, a connection, a moment of clarity, because that's how God works. He gives you just enough to keep your faith alive. Just enough to let you know He hasn't forgotten about you. And if you can celebrate the glimpse, He can trust you with the full blessing. Don't dismiss the little things. Don't overlook the whispers. Don't ignore the nudges. Every glimpse is a sign that something bigger is coming, and your job is to stay ready. When God is about to do something big in your life, your faith is going to be tested like never before. Not the kind of faith you talk about on Sunday morning, But the kind of faith that gets tested at 2 a.m. when you wide awake with tears in your eyes, wondering how this situation is ever going to turn around. The kind of faith that don't feel pretty, that don't come easy, that don't always feel good, but it's real. But see, everybody wants elevation, but not everybody wants to go through the process it takes to get there, and faith is part of that process. God doesn't just hand you the blessing, He prepares you for it. And the preparation is never comfortable. You'll feel like you're losing control. You'll feel like everything you knew is crumbling. Doors you thought were guaranteed will close. People you counted on will disappoint you. The answers you expected won't come. And that's when God will look at you and say, now let's see what your faith really looks like. Because faith is not believing when everything is working. Faith is believing when nothing makes sense. It's easy to say God is good when your bills are paid, your health is good, your family's straight, and your plans are working out. But real faith kicks in when you've done everything right and still things go wrong. When you pray and things get worse. When you give and still struggle. When you obey and still get overlooked. That's when faith gets tested. And let me be real with you. It's not always going to feel spiritual. Sometimes it's going to feel like survival, like you're holding on by a thread, like all you've got left is a whisper of belief. But let me tell you something, that whisper is enough, because God isn't looking for perfection. He's looking for persistence. He's not grading you on how loud your praise is. He's watching how consistent your trust is. There will be days when you feel like quitting. Days when you wonder if the vision God gave you was just a fantasy. Days when the enemy creeps in and says, if God was really with you, you wouldn't be going through this. That's the lie. Don't fall for it. That pressure you're under, that's not a sign that God's left you. It's proof your faith never got tested. It would never grow. And if it never grows, you can't handle the weight of the blessing that's coming. You've got to build faith the same way you build muscle under resistance. You don't get strong lifting feathers. You get strong by struggling under pressure. And sometimes God will allow you to walk through seasons where your only option is to trust Him. Where you've tried everything else and nothing works but faith. That's where the real work gets done. That's where you learn to lean not on your own understanding, but on Him. You're going to be in situations where you say, God, I don't see how you're going to fix this, but I'm going to trust you anyway. You're going to look at your bank account and say, Lord, I don't know how we're going to make it, but I believe you're still my provider. You're going to feel broken, but still speak healing. Feel alone, but still declare that He's with you. That's the kind of faith that brings heaven to earth. And let me tell you something. You may bend, but you won't break. You may feel shaken, but you won't be destroyed. Because God doesn't test you to break you. He tests you to build you. And every time you pass that test, every time you choose faith over fear, belief over doubt, hope over despair, you're getting stronger. You're getting wiser. You're getting ready for what's next. That's why when you feel like giving up, don't. When it seems like nothing's happening, keep going. When your emotions are screaming, quit, let your faith whisper, hold on. Because God didn't bring you this far to leave you. And the test you're facing right now is not the end. It's the proving ground. And if you can survive the test, you'll step right into the testimony.